What's up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I just got over here to Mike's shop. He's out here working. If you notice, if you saw the thumbnail, there's two different blowers there, a small one and a big one. He's got his big blower back. It is significantly larger. So that thing is wild when you compare them side to side. Y'all comment, like, and subscribe if y'all want to support the channel. Head on over to turbojohnracing.com. Grab yourself some hats and t-shirts. Appreciate it, guys. Mike, how are you doing? Are you having fun yet?
I don't know if you call it fun as opposed to, I think I might be better off just gambling.
Gambling? Well, I mean, you definitely lose money that way.
I lose money there.
Right?
Well, you know, it's all fun.
But this is fun. Gambling, well, I guess gambling is fun too. Especially you can win some.
What wasn't fun is when Procharger sent me the email with the PDF on the, with the invoice and all that stuff with the tracking number. I was like, all right, fine, I'll put it in. They were shipping it FedEx. And I don't know what it is with me and FedEx, but I tracked it and it said it would be here Friday.
Right.
And I said, okay. So, Friday comes around, I get in there and I track the FedEx order. And it comes at the top and it said FedEx exception delivery error. If you remember, that same stuff happened with my crankshaft.
Right.
And I'm like, man, it was lost in Nightdale.
Woo.
And so I called Procharger, got them on the phone. I said, look, the last time this happened, and you can call BTR and they'll tell you, they lost my crankshaft and had to send me another one. And I said, I'm just making you aware. And the lady was like, okay, no problem. And, she said, well, I'm going to call FedEx. FedEx gave her the same story.
Right.
It was almost a duplicate of what they told BTR.
Sounds like somebody is maybe shopping for Mike's Automotive and figuring out where race car parts is coming.
Where they're coming from.
Although you did get it, so it did show up.
Lo and behold, it showed up yesterday.
Maybe it just fell off the truck.
It fell off the truck.
It fell off the line.
Fell off the truck.
The box is all beat up. Look, it did it? Look, it crushed the side of the box.
Was caved in.
Oh my goodness.
The FedEx guy, when he come through the door, I looked at the box and I said, "You're not going anywhere until I open this box."
Right.
And he's like, he looked at me funny, and I said, "Look, that's a $7,000 box."
Right. You don't understand.
You don't understand. And I said, he was standing there. I put it, at the office where the fireplace is.
Right.
It's right under the camera.
Right.
And I opened the box up, and and I'm like, okay, I pulled it out, everything looked good, and I'm like, okay, you're fine.
At least the Procharger, at least they do a good job packing them. I mean, that right there is some Mac Daddy foam, and but they understand too. I'm sure they've had some come out of the box. Look at the difference in these two. So Mike went a $4.99 last week with this little thing, this little baby F1. F1, what is it called?
F1A-94.
F1A-94. There you go. I couldn't even remember the freaking name of it. And look at the size difference. And there is a good weight difference as well. But this is the F1-X. Now, how fast did we go with that one last time? We didn't go but like
497.
a 90. We barely, we
broke the fives with it.
Man, so maybe Pete, we know Pete is a professional tuner. So, looking at the plugs look good. I know the air-fuel ratio data looked bad. But clearly, we had it way fat. There ain't no telling how fast it's going to go with the new blower on it.
My math has always come out to 450s or better.
Right, and it should. It's the F1X. It's not the F1. It's not the F1X-12, but it's the F1X. And you can see, it's got the 540 step-up ratio in it. And Mike also was saying that this thing spins a lot easier now. It used to have a lot of friction on it, a lot of drag, and now it's more freewheeling spinning. He's also got that nice Procharger bell on it, so that's going to definitely help to make a little bit more power.
Well, Pete said that little F1A-94, if I bought that cheap $30 little bell, Amazon or Summit or wherever, he said it would immediately pick it up.
And it did.
And it did.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And I'm like, okay, all right, I buy that. And sure enough, it did.
And it's about the air sucking in, right? So, the air is coming around this. It smooths the air out. There's a lot too, like blowers and stuff where airflow and turbos, all that stuff is applicable. There was a lot of stuff back in the day where people were talking about you could just chop them off and it didn't really matter. And I don't know. Getting the air smoother coming in for sure has got to help. Steve Morris, he does some stuff in the volutes, and it's like he grooves it. It looks like, and he does some tweaks in here. I assume he still does that stuff. I don't know if he does or not.
Michael does too.
Oh, yeah, Michael, he does some port work down in there too to make it better. Look, that's the volute down in there. Oh yeah, it is a little bigger, ain't it? It's a little smoother. Getting that air so it can flow better. And you can see the compressor wheel right there. And there's a lot to it, a lot of dynamics on how the air sucks in and how it comes out here, and then how it comes out the discharge.
I had to do the same thing to this one. You know, now I didn't do.
Look at that.
I didn't do quite as good a job because I was in a hurry.
Now look at the difference though. So this one looks more like a turbo, and then look how you can see much more of the blade there. You can see the compressor wheel a lot more right there versus over here in this one. And so it's got, yeah, I mean, it's wild though how that stuff, they call that the diffuser area. There's a lot of like stuff that goes into those turbos and superchargers that make them work well or make them don't work well.
The secret sauce.
That's exactly right. So there's tweaking, and you know, one of the things I used to do to my turbos, I would take my covers and I would flat grind them on concrete, on rough concrete, to make the clearance better. And then I would spray paint the inside of them. And back in the days when we were running class legal turbos, and I was trying to take up that space to make it so that everything was fitting tighter. And so basically it was kind of like self-clearancing, and it would kind of grind the paint off, and then it would be nice and tight. And it actually did work. It made more power doing that. So I don't know if I would do it with that.
Well, I mean, if you cleaning the outside edge up, to me, is the right thing to do.
Right, absolutely.
Up to this point.
Right.
Anything down below, it's kind of like porting ahead.
Right.
You need to have some kind of turbulence.
And you gotta have also equipment to measure what you're doing, because we know going too big is bad sometimes.
Exactly.
And going too small is also bad. But these things, step up ratio, we were just talking about that a minute ago. This thing has got a 5.4 to 1. Basically what that means is for every 1 revolution of this turns 5.4 revolutions. And so that's how you do the math to figure out your max blower speed. This one is rated at 74,000 RPM. No, 72,000 RPM. I'm sorry. The little one's rated at 74. And so that's the maximum RPM they recommend. Some people run them way over that, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, that's how they explode.
That's exactly right. And it creates more heat when
Way more.
when you overspin it, you get it out of the efficiency. But essentially, he's got the gear drive. Which gear drive is this one?
That is a Chris Austin.
Chris Austin gear drive. You can see it's coupled to the crankshaft right here. And all this stuff is one kit. And it's really not too complicated to put on. But essentially,
It's a lot of measurements.
Yeah, a lot of measurements, a lot of tweaking. But everything has to be perfect. It's got to be perfectly aligned or it binds up.
Well, and I've got 2 different sets of dowels. Cut one. This set is cut for the ATI or for the Innovator West balancer. And
Right.
I have another set cut for an ATI balancer.
Oh yeah, because they're different.
They're different.
They're different, so it makes a difference. That's right. And so there's a set of gears in here, and basically off of the crankshaft, it's got step-up ratios. So and you can change it just like you change the cog pulleys if it was a belt drive. And so that ratio coupled with the gearing in the blower gives you the RPM of the blower at whatever RPM you're running here. So you can change that to make it so that the blower maxes out at like 6,000 RPM or 7,000 or 9,000. And that determines how hard it hits the tire. It determines how the blower reacts. Is it going to be real violent early, or is it going to be less violent and make a lot more top end power? So, all that makes a difference, though. And so you got to have a good running car to figure it out.
Well, I got, like we were talking earlier, I've got this one mid-range.
Right.
I don't want it coming in too soon. I'll let the motor do the work coming out of the hole, let it grab and run through the mid-range out the back.
And it went a 113 60 foot. And when we were at Galat, last Wednesday, the private testing, and then you started turning it up some, and it started spinning a little bit. So the track might have went away a little bit, but also something after the fact is y'all thought maybe, okay, well, probably we should have tightened the front end up a little bit. Or loosened the front end up, because it was a little tight, and it looked like it was maybe popping the limiter or, coming up too fast. or too slow. I mean, I mean, you gotta play with it. Yeah, you know, sometimes it's opposite of what you think.
And I would guess that, you know, we may have got a few more out of the little one.
Right, but it was pretty close to being maxed out.
It was pretty much maxed.
All right. And now this big one though. So what's the best 60 foot you've had with the big one is 113 as well, right?
No, 112.
112 with the big one. So now
At Rockingham.
with the tune-up that Pete's got in it, it's going to probably be, it might be able to go 1.0s. I mean, it's very possible it might go 1.0s, which this car's heavy too.
Talked with Lee, I think, over at HED yesterday.
Right.
Told him I got the blower back and I was going to get everything set on it. And as soon as I get the bracket to finish fixing the brake pedal problem, then I'm on their schedule. I'm going to take it over to there, and then we're going to tune it with that one.
Nice. Well, that's looking good. And you're working on the O2 sensor some more, trying to make that thing happy.
Got another kit over there. So, and I'm not a zooming expert by no means. I built these ones. I designed them. They are working. They are loud. But what you can see now, I think you tried it in the other video. You can see the little snake tube I put in it.
Right. And it's basically got a sample tube coming off of each one of these headers, and then the oxygen sensor is right there. And then he added this little extension tube down there to get it so that, you know, it wasn't getting fresh air there. And
I'm gonna try putting. I'm gonna build. I've got the pipes in the box over there. I'm gonna fab up another section, and then I'm gonna move the O2 half the distance from where it is now to the end of the tube or end of the zooming.
Right.
So I'm gonna move it somewhere in the middle, and we're gonna try it and see if it's got to do with airflow.
see if it's got more. Yeah, maybe there it'll have a good reading, because we want O2 to be working right. Yeah. I mean, it's there. It's EFI. I know you can tune it in open loop, and I mean, if you're really good, you know, like Pete is, and I mean, and other professional tuners, I mean, it works out to where you can do it. But
well, I know the tune, whether the AFR is reading accurate or not. I know the tune is I would say almost dead on, because you know, you look at the plugs and you look at the EGTs. EGTs were, I don't even think there was 2 degrees difference in them.
Right. And
You
the
know,
plugs
after
look great.
4 or 5 passes.
And the plugs look fantastic. It's crazy. So that's what Mike's got going on with the blower. He's going from the small one to the big one, and hopefully it'll pick up good, and we'll go bang off a new personal best. Now, he did have a problem at Galot that they kind of salvaged at the last moment. Didn't realize there was a problem, and he went to pull the car out of the trailer, and the brake felt funny.
Last 2 passes, I let Joey drive the car.
Right.
Make sure I didn't have a chicken foot problem.
Right.
The one pass he tried to deploy the chute, and the chute hung. It was hard to stop. And I was like, yeah, I tried to tell you, you get going $140 and it don't want to slow down much.
Right.
And so Sunday when I went to get it out of the trailer and put it in here, I was like, wait a minute now, this don't feel right. I didn't think nothing of it. I just parked it out there, and I was going to let the fuel drain out of it, run out of it, so that I can put the seal kit into the pump, which is not leaking anymore.
Of course not.
Of course not. And it was sitting out there just idling, and it was chewing up the fuel. I said, all right, it's time to pull it in. I got in it, and I put my foot on the damn brake, and the brake pedal fell off.
It fell off the car.
It twisted sideways.
Right.
I'm like, oh, well, okay, this was not good.
So what you're saying is the car scared Joey so bad he broke the brake pedal.
He broke the brake pedal.
He broke the bracket, and it basically just got all tangled up. So sometimes it's a good thing that you don't get to make more passes, and it's spinning, because we spun the last 2 passes.
Yes.
So with it spinning the last 2 passes, I mean, that was going to break the next.
It would have broke.
It was going to, yeah. It was probably already broke. It was going to fold the cable, the brake thing over like it did when you were in the shop here.
Well,
that's insane.
It pulled the upper bolt. It pulled it straight through the firewall.
Right.
And when I hit the pedal, it just went like that.
God. So no brake, nothing. And then so imagine. I mean, there's a good sand trap down there at Galot, but we don't want to be in it.
I don't want to be in it.
So, and what he's talking about back here on the back, and it's happened to me before too. So what happens is the way the cable comes up, and see he's got this here. He probably needs to trim these little few things off right here. Yep. Because that sometimes if this is pushed up too far or that doesn't retract all the way in, if I've got mine now to where when I push it all the way in, this cable completely disappears. This part completely disappears into here. But man, it's scary. I mean,
Joey got out of the car and he's like, "Well, what happened to the chute?" And
it was
the
barely
end
on
of
the
this
end.
was stuck inside of there.
It didn't quite go down far enough
So
to get it. Yep.
I'm gonna cut another 1/4 inch of this off
Yep. And then just
and fix the bottom of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, but that's scary though, isn't it? I mean, no parachute, no brakes.
No parachute, no brakes.
That happened to my buddy Chris Moore.
I'll find reverse real quick.
2 years ago, I think it was. He was at Carolina Dragway, and his was the car took off, Mustang brake arm, and like a normal one. And when it come out, it pulled the rod out of the master cylinder. And so when he went to go push on the brake, it wasn't in the master cylinder no more. Went straight to the floor. Parachute come out, but he still went into the sand trap probably 80 or 90 miles an hour.
That ain't good.
No, it is not good. Luckily, it didn't destroy his truck, but it's amazing what we depend on. You don't think about it. We're so focused a lot of times taking off and going fast. We're not focused on, okay, well, we got to get this thing stopped too, and you got to get it stopped from 150 mile an hour in 1,000 feet.
Everybody wants to go fast. Then the last thing that you think about is, okay, now you're going fast. What about slowing down?
Brakes and brake pedal and parachutes. That's what kind of brakes you got on this thing?
Wheelwood.
You got Wheelwoods all the way around?
Yep.
That's what the new car, I'm going to have TBMs all the way around on it. The Brakeman stuff, they do awesome brakes.
Some of this stuff, like that brake, the Wheelwood brake kit, was on this car when I got it. So that stuff is probably from the 80s.
Right, because that's right. They started building this stuff a long time ago on this car. This car started life a long time ago. All right, guys. Well, I just wanted to give y'all an update. I was coming over here to Mike's for a few minutes while he's doing this. I don't know if I can help him much, but he's got a handle on it. But we're going to get this thing hopefully back to the track in a few weeks after Pete does his magic on the dyno. Ooh, boy, it's going to pick up a bunch of power with the big blower.
I'm hoping.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all later.